Mira Business FM.
Welcome back to Daybreak. Now, before we dive into today's conversation, let me share a bit of reflection. I think most of the time on the show, when we're talking about business and finance, my guests are usually men, I think it's fair to say. CEOs, entrepreneurs, investors, overwhelmingly male voices. And it isn't just here, even in journalism, where I've worked for a long time now, and especially when it comes to business reporting, majority of the people you see or hear are men. That raises a question. Is this simply reflective of the industry themselves, the business industries and journalistic industries alike, or is it part of the reason change is slower than we'd like? Because the voices shaping the narrative, whether on the trading floor or in media, are too often the same. And that's why I'm particularly pleased about today's guest. She's not just a respected voice in finance journalism here in the UAE and the Middle East, but also someone who can help us interrogate the data, the culture, and the future of women in finance. The numbers are fascinating as well. Women in senior finance roles are earning more than ever. 91% of female CFOs, according to the latest report, are on around $250,000 or more. Yet the reality beneath those headlines shows trade-offs, barriers, and many unanswered questions, I think it's fair to say. So today we're going to ask, what do these wins really mean? What's holding women back? And what does progress look like here in the Middle East, especially in the UAE? To help us unpack all of this, I'm joined by Paromita today. She's the deputy editor at Citywire. Paromita, welcome to Mira Business FM and to Daybreak. It's a pleasure to have you.
Thanks, Inzamam. It's my pleasure to be on the show and discuss this topic, which I think so many women who are working here, so many working women, we feel really strongly about it. So I am very glad that you chose me to speak about it. And I mean, you can go ahead, ask me anything you want, and I am ready to answer all your questions.
That's very kind. Thank you. No, thanks for being with us. And look, the reason we're speaking to you is because it's off the back of an article that you actually wrote for Emirati Women's Day, and we'll come on to that article and the reason why you wrote it. But tell us a bit about why you're passionate about this topic, about women in finance, and why you believe you're using your platform as the deputy editor of Citywire to talk about it.
So I came into business journalism right from the start of my career, which was sometime back in 2011. I was doing general business that time, but then I always had very deep-seated passion about finance and banking. So when I full-fledged started in banking journalism, which was sometime in probably sometime around 2017 or 2018, the first thing that hit me was the stark contrast between the number of male employees and female employees that you see working in a bank, be it retail, be it private. It was same. I guess it was same in the GCC. I mean, I'm talking in respect of the GCC countries. So if I'm just for example, like if there are 9 male employees, then there would be probably like 1 or 2 female employees. So, and then, you know, when I started going out in the market, I started meeting my contacts, my sources. I started interacting with some of the female private bankers who have been in the industry for like probably 15 to 20 years. Trust me, Inzamam, when I say that there was so much pay gap disparity, and like there was a severe lack of gender diversity when it came to the financial landscape in the GCC. I know that we see some really good examples, in leadership roles, in women leadership roles. I wouldn't take names, but some of the large banks here, they do have female CEOs, female CFOs. They would have like advisory teams headed by females. But beneath that, you would only find probably like a handful. Out of 100, you will probably find like 10 to 15 women who are in those leadership roles.
When you saw or see that disparity, and not just here across the GCC, but I mean, I'm from the UK. I've seen it hugely in the West. When you do see that disparity, as a woman who is in the business world now, albeit through journalism, how does that kind of make you feel when you do see that disparity? I can't put myself in your shoes. I'm not a woman, so I won't be able to. But can you just explain to us how that kind of feels, just seeing that?
To be honest, initially I used to feel quite angry. I used to get so annoyed because, I know that there are seminars being organized for women. Women talk about how you can support each other, how you can help each other. But then after, I attended quite a few seminars, I've attended quite a few webinars on such topics. But at the end of the day, it just felt like it's all talks and nothing came out of it. It just ended in that banquet hall of a 5-star hotel, and that's about it. Nothing really came out of it. There was very little to no change, and then that what started annoying me really. I have been thankfully my organization, we produce like a women's Day report, like the International Women's Day report. We talk to women globally, but you won't believe, Inzamam, when I say that there is absolutely no data from the Gulf. So I have been trying to kind of, push for saying that we have women, we have female leaders, we have women working in this sector.
Yeah.
But to get that data, to get that survey out along with our global team, it's just not enough.
Yeah, but
absolutely not enough.
Who should the onus of that fall onto? Who should be collecting this data? Should it be companies them individually? Should it be one specific organization? Do you think companies do enough to push women into those kind of, and it's not just senior roles we're talking about, but just roles in general? Who needs to take that onus on?
I think I can answer this in two parts. The first part would be like 50% of the onus lies with the women themselves.
That's an interesting answer, yeah.
Yes, because sometimes what happens is, we just, whatever is being thrown at us, we just take it. We don't fight back. We don't say like, okay, this is not wrong. This is wrong. I mean, I'm not going to sit back and I am not going to take this. I deserve it. I have worked towards it, and I absolutely deserve what I have asked for. So if you don't ask for it, you are never going to get it. That's like the 50% thing. And the rest 50% definitely lies on the organization, because if you go into a boardroom and you see like a boardroom full of male employees, and then there's just like one female employee sitting there, like, trust me, who's going to listen to her anyway? So it also falls on that company, on that organization, to make sure that there's a certain, I would say, I don't know if quota is the right word, but there should be like a certain quota which can only be filled with women. Because if you don't give us a chance, if you don't, if you don't push us, if you don't push the boundaries for women, then of course things are not going to work out. If you can push the boundaries for your male employees, then why don't you push the boundary for your female employees?
I'd be interested to get your take, Paromita, on and I don't know whether you've been in this situation, but in the business world, in the finance world, when it comes to one woman and 20 of her male colleagues, just give us a sense of what that feels like for that one woman in that situation. I don't know if you can give examples of you ever kind of being in that situation, but what can that feel like as a woman?
I have been in that situation, not once, not twice, but many a times. And I would be very honest and say that it does turn out to be a bit intimidating. Because of course, there are so many things that gets discussed when you are inside a boardroom, and sometimes like your voice might not reach the right person, or like it's just not enough to be like to get heard. So that kind of dampens your confidence. It doesn't boost your morale. The only reason that I said that women needs to fight back and they need to voice their opinion, they need to come out and they need to say that I deserve what I have asked for, is just because of this reason. Like, you need to put your foot down, you need to be standing on a pedestal and say that I am here and you have to listen to me. I know that sometimes that might come across a bit. I mean, I've been called arrogant, I've been called rude sometimes because I've done that. But then if I don't do it, then I'm not going to be heard. And if I'm not going to be heard, then the whole idea of being a business journalist kind of falls flat. So you need to make yourself heard. You need to fight back. You need to make your presence felt so that, people sit up, people take notice of you, and people know that, okay, she's there and she cannot be taken lightly.
I want to talk a bit about a report that was produced earlier this year. It was the 2025 Women in Finance Compensation Report presented by Zone and Co. And you're right, it doesn't specifically focus on GCC. It takes a bit of a global look. And I don't know exactly how much of it has looked at GCC. I imagine not too much. But let's look at it from a global perspective, if we may. Let's start on the high note. The report says that 91% of female CFOs and 67% of VPs and CAOs now earn over $250,000 a year. Now, that's not just parity, that's power in a way. How significant is this? Does this feel like a genuine shift in the finance world when we look at this specific issue?
It does, it does feel good when I actually see these numbers, and like, just to know that female CFOs and female CEOs and VPs, they are like that pay gap has significantly reduced. But as you said, it's mostly global. I am not sure if they have been looking at the GCC here. This definitely gives a bit of confidence. This definitely kind of signals change, that things are changing. Of course, I am pretty sure that these women are like in leadership roles, and they have I'm pretty sure they also must be doing so much for the people, for the women who are junior to them. But having said that, I would also like to highlight a few policies that have been taken by the UAE government in regards to women. So currently the UAE ranks 7th globally in UN's Gender Inequality Index. So that means that thanks to the policies of the government, they have combined accountability and ambition. They have like the UAE Central Bank, they are pushing for more women in leadership, and the regulator here, the Securities and Commodities Authority, their CEO is a woman, is an Emirati woman, and they have asked all the listed companies to include female board directors, which is a massive achievement.
Is that something that you've noticed? Obviously, that's kind of actual data, but is that something that you have noticed? Kind of qualitatively, that there are more senior women in these roles, particularly in the UAE, because of the policies that the government here have introduced?
Absolutely. I totally agree that with the help of these policies that the government has introduced, women's representation has probably like doubled or tripled in the last 3 years, in the last 3 to 4 years, especially in public companies, because if listed companies have been mandated to include female board members, then it's a huge jump. It's a massive achievement. And following the examples of these listed companies, the banks, the private banks, the asset managers, anyone present in the financial landscape, they have started like slowly and steadily getting more women in bigger leadership roles, like CEOs. I mean, just to give you an example, like the CEO of First Abu Dhabi Bank, she's a woman, and she has been in that leadership role for years now, and she has done a fantastic job. So this is exactly what we need. Like, I can give you examples of women who are in leadership roles, and they have been doing so good. They have been promoting other women. They have been instrumental in getting the message out that there has to be a certain number of female present in the boardroom. Right now, you can't always have a boardroom full of men anymore.
I've got some stats here, given that we're talking about the Middle East and the UAE. I've got some stats here. Women hold around 32% of top leadership roles in banking and finance. That's, I think, in the Middle East. But here in the UAE, women make up just 18% of the financial sector workforce and less than 9% of board seats. And at the same time, Emirati businesswomen are managing projects, it says here, around 50 billion dirhams. They run 10% of private sector businesses. And I think this is quite striking. 84% of the women in the UAE say that they're considering starting their own business. So it feels like, look, there are women out there who want to be entrepreneurial, who want to be in the finance sector, who want to be business-minded and be with the very top when it comes to the business world. What more needs to be done to get more women up there? And what's your thoughts and reaction to this data and these figures?
I mean, I think these figures are brilliant. These figures actually signal change, that change is there, change is coming. Look, the thing is, previously, so far, what has happened is the leadership roles, they will still assume that, it's like a continuous full-time career path with few breaks. You can't take breaks. But then being a woman, like being a woman, most of them are at a disadvantage because they need to take time off for family or caregiving, or if you are a mother. So, so what the organizations need to do is they have to create like flexible work models, and they have to create leadership programs which will support such kind of women, which will ensure that women will have equal access to good opportunities for advancing their career. And they need to actively invest in such programs. They need to create like flexible work policies, and they need to create or probably not create, they just need to ensure that the kind of access to opportunities and promotions that a male employee gets, why not a female employee as well? Like, how do you even differentiate between the capabilities of a male employee and a female employee?
That's a very interesting point. Paromita, we're just going to pop to the news. I want to keep you there because there's so much to talk about. It's a really fascinating topic of conversation and an important one as well. And I've got plenty of questions still to put to you this afternoon. So please do stick there. Paromita today, she's the deputy editor for Citywire. We are talking about women in finance. It's coming up to 12:30. Let's get your latest headlines here on Mira Business FM.
Mira Business FM.
Welcome back. This is Daybreak with me, Inzamam Rashid. The time is just turning over to 12:33. A very warm welcome to you if you are just tuning in. We have been talking this afternoon about women in finance here on Daybreak. And if you want to get involved in the conversation, you can, of course, drop your comments on the YouTube page where we are live streaming to you from the Art of Living Mall. Just type in Mira Business FM. Hit subscribe so you can get all the fascinating interviews that we have for you here on Mira Business FM as well. And this is one of them. We're speaking to Paromita today. She is the deputy editor at Citywire based here in the UAE. Of course, Citywire Middle East, talking all things finance and business and economy. Paromita today is at the very heart of all of that. And one thing that is close to her heart is this topic of women in finance. Just before we left you, Paromita, welcome back to the show. Just before we left you, we actually were talking a bit about the Middle East and the UAE with some stats that I had, which showed that actually we were doing quite well. Middle East women hold 32% of the top leadership roles in banking and finance. Here in the UAE, they make up 18% of the financial sector workforce, and around 9% on board seats. I mean, those numbers may not seem huge, but women here are breaking barriers in entrepreneurship, right? And that's faster than kind of probably the rate at most places in the world as well.
Absolutely, Inzamam. I mean, with these kind of numbers, we can see that women are getting more and more integrated into the financial landscape. So I would say that these kind of initiatives accelerate financial inclusion, like wealth diversification, and of course it promotes economic growth across the region. I mean, you can't just leave out a segment of people and just say that, okay, this is the segment that's going to help us in economic growth. No, if you have there was a recent McKinsey report, I think it was sometime early this year, that said that women currently hold or control about 1/3 of the retail financial assets in US and the European Union.
Wow.
And this figure is projected to rise between 40 to 45% by 2030. So you can see that, women are progressing as earners, as business owners, as investors, as like breadwinners of the family. I mean, this is fascinating. Previously, I'm pretty sure, like probably 6 or 7 years before, this was not the case.
No.
But things have changed. The wheels are turning. I mean, and with that, I would also like to say that the UAE stands as a very unique point. Like it's a global financial hub. It is becoming probably the next London or Hong Kong or Singapore. The UAE has ambition. The UAE has influence. So, the country has so much to give, so much to offer. And if we can set an example by involving, by kind of accelerating these numbers,
Yeah.
I think we have one of the best edges in this landscape. We just need to deepen our commitment. We just not for equity's sake, but just to make the economy more resilient, more diversified, and just to help women gain more trust.
Absolutely.
And strengthen cultures.
One thing that I do want to put to you, Paromita, is that in this report that I had mentioned earlier by Zone and Co, it's the 2025 Women in Finance Compensation Report. One of the quotes in there, which I found quite powerful actually, and I'm not a woman, was that bring other women with you as you ascend. We don't negotiate enough and we almost feel guilty about it. This is something that you picked up on earlier.
Yes.
But let me ask you, how much of this does come down to culture? And are we still in a system that maybe penalizes women for negotiating a bit too hard or for leading kind of authentically? And what role does kind of mentorship and sponsorship play in this field?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I am such a big supporter of mentorship and sponsorship, because if at all I am in a leadership position and I'm unable to mentor my juniors, then I'm not a good leader. Like if being a woman, if I'm the CEO, for example, if I'm a CEO of an organization, and I am not providing equal and fair access to opportunities and promotions as to what a male employee is getting as compared to the female employee, then I am definitely not a good leader. Like I can't be differentiating between genders just on the basis of, like, how many career breaks you might have, or how many like hours you're working, or probably like there has been so much like gender there has been so much of pay disparity between genders. And I think it's not only in the financial world. We have seen celebrities talking about pay gaps right from probably in every industry that has been present. The only reason we are talking about here finance, because of course that is something which is taking a lot of time, I would say.
And
so
on that point of it taking time, there's another question when it comes to those quotes that I was talking about, and you mentioned it. You speak to your junior, particularly if they're female, and try and advise them and mentor them and sponsor them. Do you feel like, though, that this happens across the board, and particularly when it comes to the financial sector? Do we find that women are actually lifting others up in the industry, or is there still a bit of an issue when it comes to that?
I would say it's very subjective to organizations. I have talked to women in some organizations who are very happy, and they have been provided like their career breaks have been accommodated, and they have been provided a lot of access to equal promotion opportunities as compared to the male employees. There hasn't been any kind of bias in sponsorship or promotions. But on the other side, I have also talked with women, and just to add to that, I have also heard that some of the organizations have really supportive women leaders who would go to any lengths to make sure that the junior female employees absolutely get what they deserve. But then on the other side, as I say, like the grass is not always greener. There have been organizations where I have heard, and I have talked with some, I've talked to such women, and they have been like, they have not been getting the same kind of mentorship or sponsorship from what they would expect probably from the leaders. Like there has been a dearth of equal access to advancement opportunities, and then there have also been like they have been projected to adapt to outdated systems. So much work remains to build systems like that include women and are shaped by them. So I would say it's very subjective.
Yeah.
It absolutely depends on how an organization would care for its male and female employees both.
I'm just having a look through the article that you wrote for Emirati Women's Day last week, it was, and you spoke to a number of kind of industry leaders effectively. Tell us what kind of conversation that you had with a lot of those women, and how they feel about this particular topic.
They were brilliant. Like some of these women have been in the industry for like more than 15 years. They are immensely knowledgeable. They exactly know what they're talking about. They are smart. They have fought their way to these kind of roles. I mean, like they are some of the key contributors as professionals, as investors, and they have been trying to integrate. If I'm only talking about the private banking sector, such women have been trying to integrate more females in advisory roles, in leadership roles. So and that also kind of changes how a client would probably talk to a female relationship manager, and of course it creates a lot of diversification. And there have been so many authentic success stories.
Yeah.
So we need such women in these roles. Like, they have grown within the industries, they have contributed to this to their profession, and they have made a credible opportunity for their careers. So I would say they feel very strongly about this topic. They are trying from their side as well. I have not only the women that I've talked to, there have been other women also who are very close to my heart, and they have been trying from their side as well, like, just to get everything under one roof.
Yeah.
And get that change inculcated in the organizations. And just for example, like, there's someone who I know who works for one of the largest banks here, global banks here. And trust me, Inzamam, when I say that she is one of the most knowledgeable person, nothing to do with gender, but she is one of the most knowledgeable person I've ever talked to. So that is something that we need. Those are the kind of people that we need.
And also to celebrate as well, which you have done so
Exactly.
well in your article. It was a real privilege reading that. I just want to move on to, we've not got much time left yet, and like I said, this conversation is fascinating and could go on forever, and is so insightful to not just me, but I'm sure many who are listening, both men and women. But looking ahead, what needs to change? What needs to be done better? If we're sitting here in 2030, to you, who's heavily involved in the finance world, particularly out here in the Middle East, what should success look like?
I think we need to set clear rules for representation. We need to have a baseline, and we also, like, organizations should come and gather in boardrooms to discuss what is lacking in terms of pay, in terms of creating flexible work models, in terms of being accommodative, and this is something that would encourage long-term change. If we need structural levers to reward accountability. We need to change norms. We need to reshape the financial sector. The baseline is we need to be inclusive of all genders. We can't just say that if someone's a mother, or if someone is having some kind of family issues, we need to be inclusive of that. And of course, we need to have strong pipelines of female executives who can shape the strategy, who can be decision makers, and who can be in that position just to say that, no, this is not right. We need change. I mean, it's the message is clear. It's not a social imperative. It has to be a strategy. It has to have the power to transform the entire economic landscape. So we need leadership. We need mentorship. We need faces, and we need new faces. the existing faces are doing a tremendous job, but we need more new faces to come out to, to say that we are here. Don't be afraid. Ask what you deserve. I mean, I've always been telling everyone that ask what you deserve.
Yeah.
You are not asking for anything less or anything more. You're asking for your work. That's it.
Yeah. Paromita, today, it's been an absolute privilege speaking to you. Thank you so much for your time. I can see that you're incredibly passionate about this subject and this topic. And of course, you can read Paromita's piece that she wrote for Citywire Middle East. It's called Emirati Women's Day, highlights women redefining wealth and banking. It's a fascinating long read on some of the conversations that she's had with industry leaders, reflecting on how far the wealth sector has come for women in finance. Paromita, thank you again for your time. I'm sure we'll be speaking to you very, very soon, and I appreciate you joining us on Daybreak.
Thank you so much, Inzamam, and good luck.
Thank you. We'll speak to you soon, Paromita. The time is 12:48. You're listening to Daybreak on Mira Business FM. We've got around 12 minutes before we get the news headlines at 1 o'clock. Faraj and I are going to be having a chat about a video you may have seen of President Putin, Chinese Premier Xi Jinping, and of North Korea's leader as well. We're going to be showing you that video and talking about what exactly went down in China yesterday, or day before yesterday it was. Stick around on Mira Business FM. It's coming up to 12:49 on Daybreak. Stick with us.
Mira Business FM.